Yeah. Fresh off the motherfucking broadcast. And I'm here. Fuego, nigga. Yeah. Hey. What's happening for that ass? Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins, what you did last week was one of the most...
Stop. I blew it.
You blew it.
I blew it.
Pay.
Yeah. Fresh off the motherfucking broadcast. And I'm here. Fuego, nigga. Yeah. Hey.
DeAndre Hopkins, what you did last week was one of the most embarrassing, disgraceful, and humiliating things in fantasy football history. What you did to my fantasy team and fantasy teams around the world was absolutely despicable. 2 weeks ago, putting up an okay game against Denver, that's fine. But last week, horrible. I never felt this disrespected as a fan of fantasy football, ever. Some of you may ask, Bass, where's the Hop love at? I left that back in week 8. Kind of like how DeAndre Hopkins left his ability to play with bad quarterbacks back in 2015. My team treated you way better than your previous teams, and you still put up single digits. Never trust a man from Houston. And don't think I forgot about you, Brock Osweiler. Brock, you are nothing but a high school quarterback. And if I see you on the street, I'm spitting on you and your $72 million contract. This is 4th and goal. So, welcome back, guys. I hope you like that intro. Some of you may have heard it twice.
That was mean as hell.
It was great. Oh, I
Did it
needed
feel
to
good?
get that off my chest, bro.
Did it feel good?
Hopkins.
That was
Feel
real
good
passion
getting
right
that
there. I like that.
Tell us how you really feel.
Disgraceful, man. It's horrible. I'm angry. He's did nothing. But I don't even want to talk about DeAndre Hopkins anymore.
Well, let's welcome the people in to the new week.
Welcome back. I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. We're moving into week 9 this week. Week 8, that was Halloween weekend. We had some scary games over there, especially if you were an Indianapolis fan. You were real scared by the end of that game.
What were you for over there?
Oh,
Excuse me, if you were
T.Y.
over there in London, too.
T.Y. had me worried, man. I couldn't even watch the game. It wasn't on TV, unfortunately. You know, Indianapolis should be on TV every week, but that's just me.
Well, it was on TV somewhere.
So, I had no clue what happened
Agreed.
to T.Y. That was horrible.
Yeah, it's called hamstring.
Says goes out with the hamstring. I didn't even know he came back. He did end up doing a little something, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But like I said, it was Halloween weekend. So, to honor Halloween, I thought we'd bring in a new little segment I like to call Trick or Treat. That is where, let me tell you, this is a great one. We're going to talk about the fantasy players who gave you owners either a trick by putting up a terrible game, or if you started them, they gave you a little treat, gave you a little something, probably helped you win your game. So, week 8, we had a couple treats. I'm going to start off with a treat, and then I'm going to go with a trick, and then I'll pass it off. Just explain it. So my treat this week, oh man, I wanted to draft him so bad, but he was injured, so I couldn't. But Tyler Eifert, in his second game back, put up 9 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown versus Washington. It was good for 16 fantasy points in your standard league. And after that horrible return where he didn't really look effective, it looks like he's actually healthy now. And Andy Dalton was looking his way a lot, as you can see, 9 catches, big factor in the game. And if you started him, that was definitely a treat right there.
Definitely.
That is a treat. That's a trick for me, though, because I traded him, so...
Yeah. Should have traded him to me. I wanted him.
Surprised I didn't. You've traded with everybody.
Blockbuster ball. No. What can I say? I love trading. But I also got a trick last week, and it was actually on my fantasy team. Mark Ingram, playing really solid as of late. He got me an 18 and a 20. He had an okay game 2 weeks ago, and then this week I was starting him with confidence against Seattle. That's a bad matchup, but I didn't think it'd be this bad. -9 yards and a fumble. They gave him 3 carries. He fumbled on the third, and then they benched him. Really worried me. It was sad to see. Tim Hightower went on to run 26 times for 102 yards on Seattle. Think of what Mark Ingram could have did if they kept him in there. But if you fumble, he's fumbled at least twice in the last 3 games. You got to bench him.
Hightower looked good, though. He might be someone to watch out for Mark Ingram owners.
Yeah, Hightower was a beast.
Might need to handcuff him.
He was a beast last year. I picked him up and it actually got me into the playoffs. But all right, who wants to go next? Who's going next? Who's giving me a treat?
The treats.
I need a treat.
Nah,
What are you, a dog?
I don't have a treat.
You don't got no treats?
You know who was a treat this week?
Who's a treat?
Also, a man coming back off of injury, tight end for the Redskins, Jordan Reed.
Ooh.
He was in that game overseas that was a scary one,
Hot.
but he ended up performing very well. He had 9 catches on 99 yards and a touchdown in his first game back, and him and Kirk seemed to have picked right back up where they left off. Vernon Davis also played well in the game, though, I might add. But Jordan Reed over there in London, he gave them people over there a little excitement. He'll be my treat. My trick of this week is also a tight end, and that's the number 1 tight end, Greg Olsen for the Panthers.
Oh, man.
This is a guy that's averaged 15 fantasy points so far this year, by far the most for tight ends. Last week, he had 1 catch for 11 yards. In our half PPR league, that was a whopping 1.5 for me. So he has to be my trick of the week. A guy who I usually rely on for big points.
Yeah, I started him over Jimmy Graham, who was actually playing New Orleans. And I thought I knew I should have played Jimmy Graham, but he didn't even.
Graham ended up
Sorry, I think he got me a 5, so it wasn't that horrible.
Better
But
than
Greg
1.5.
Olsen a 1.
It's terrible.
In standard leagues, he got a 1. This is Mr.
Correct,
Consistency. Yeah. He's the number 1 tight end right now. He never puts up games like that, but it was a tough matchup.
Exactly. Greg has been such a consistent performer this year. Despite that 1.5 game or 1 in standard leagues, he's still the number 1 overall tight end.
Very true. All right, I like the tricks.
Anyone else have a trick or a treat for us?
I've got a trick.
Who is this trick?
Always got a trick laying around. People are always trying to trick me on my team. But this week I didn't get tricked by this person, but he's still a trick anyway. And that
Who's your trick?
Marvin Jones was a trick this past week if you thought about starting him.
Yeah.
Got 3 catches for 33 yards against Houston. So measly 4.5 points in our half-point PPR league. And he's really fallen off from his top 3 wide receiver status that he had earlier in the season. In the past 4 games, he's only had 37 yards, 10 yards, 33 yards, and a 94-yard game.
Booty!
With a high of only 4 catches in those 4 games. So he's really fallen off. I don't know what's going on there, but he is my trick of the week. This week playing Minnesota, and he's riding the bench again for me.
Yeah, I got Marvin Jones in a league, and I went from thinking this is Calvin Johnson 2.0 after those first 3 weeks. Now I have Golden Tate, and I'm on my bench, and I'm thinking about starting Golden Tate over Marvin Jones.
Yeah.
He's the guy who
put
gets
in
the
work
catches.
in the past few weeks.
And Marvin Jones is so touchdown dependent that it's kind of hard not to start Golden Tate when he's getting the catches, and he's getting looks in the red zone as well. He might get that touchdown too.
Yeah, true.
Marvin Jones fell off.
Marvin Jones has still been getting the touchdowns, but how long is he going to keep this up since he's not getting his big plays anymore?
Yeah, exactly. It's terrible. You got a treat for us too?
No.
No treats.
No.
What about
I ain't
the
coming to
kids?
your
I
house
lost this
next
week.
year.
I lost this week. I didn't get any treats, so I'm sorry.
Wow.
No treats.
That's depressing.
No treats.
Been there, though.
Yeah.
All right, Craig.
Do you have
I
a
ain't
treat?
going back to Paces. I need a treat from your house.
You ain't getting a treat from my house, dog. It's
Oh, no.
More tricks.
it's a pagan holiday. I don't celebrate that. So
A what now?
what? Pagan holiday.
What's that now?
Yeah.
I keep
So
going. Keep going.
I don't give out that candy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Don't believe in that.
I love candy.
Yeah, candy's great.
Candy is good, but
Well, I still got
nope.
some candy. I didn't go out, and I still got candy. It's great.
That's cool.
That's great, eh?
Yeah. Sometimes you don't have to do the work, but you get all the treats.
I give a treat for the fans, Bass. You get a treat for them.
I give the fans treats.
Well, how about you give them
Already
one
gave
right
them.
now?
You want
by-
another treat?
By dishing out your game
You know
ball.
what? Come back to my house. It was
Dish out
it
your
was a
game
great
ball,
experience. I'm
Bass.
handing out those. You want the game ball?
Yeah, I want your game ball. That's where the
My
real
game
treat
ball.
is. That's where the real money
Okay.
is.
We're transitioning over to the game ball, your favorite segment on 4th and Goal, and I'll kick us off. My game ball this week is going to a guy who's getting his first game ball of the year, Jordan Howard of the Bears. And I was looking at the matchup because I had the Vikings defense. I was like, Jordan Howard, he's okay. I was like, but the Vikings have the number 1 fantasy scoring defense. I'm not worried about it. But Jordan Howard went off. 153 yards, touchdown, and 49 receiving yards. 25 points in standard leagues. If he had one more receiving yard, you get 26.
Mm-hmm.
Against the number 1 defense in the NFL. I got to hand it to him. Jordan Howard sassed me heavy, but he balled out that game. So I'm giving Jordan Howard my game ball.
Good game ball, bro. I can follow that up with Gunslinger, who was on the down tilt, but picked himself up recently, the past couple of games.
Who's that now?
Aaron Rodgers.
Of the Green Bay Packers.
Of the Green Bay Packers, who now resides as the 5th-ranked quarterback in the league, though.
Well, look at that.
It's about time. That's what we expected all season long, so
I knew he would come around.
just took him a little bit. He just relaxed, and now he's got it. But his game was very good. He had 4 touchdown passes and connected on 28 of 38 passes for 246 yards. He also had 60 rushing yards and a 2-point conversion that he ran in himself. So he's basically carrying this team.
For sure. They only played with 3 active wide receivers this week, too, so that couldn't have been easy on Rodgers as well.
When Jeff Janis
He
catches
truly
a
killed it.
touchdown, there's a problem.
Truly accurate.
I mean, they only had 3 receivers, so Jeff Janis had a pretty good chance.
That's what I mean, though. You know there's something wrong.
You know who I loved in that game was Jordy Nelson. Came back, 94 yards and a touchdown.
Finally hit a nice
I mean,
bounce back game.
it was mostly in the first half. He kind of did look like trash in the second half. Rodgers, after he dropped that ball in the third quarter, Rodgers really didn't look his way anymore. So I got points out of him. I'm not worried. 17.5. That's pretty nice.
Definitely take that every week.
All right, Slade, you giving us a game ball?
Oh, I got one for you. And I can't believe none of you guys don't want to pick this guy this week.
I'm interested to hear.
This guy was on the road. His team may or may not have committed 23 penalties and still got the win. He threw for 513 yards, completed 40 of 59 passes, 4 TDs. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Got the overtime win?
Yeah,
Derek Carr of the Raiders.
Derek.
Can you guys believe how good Derek Carr's been playing lately, guys?
No, it's ass.
That is
honestly.
by far the best game of his career. I mean, he's been having a solid season, but I think this puts him in the MVP contention right now.
Yeah.
Got the
Absolutely.
Raiders at what, 6-1?
He should have had like 600 yards, but they had like 23 penalties. So
I mean, that's absurd. The fact that you could say a guy could have had 600 yards. I mean, he was balling out there. I mean,
D-Waiters.
I got to go Derek Carr though.
Understood.
He was great.
That's a great game ball. He's a G. I could definitely see him potentially winning MVP if he keeps those numbers up.
I mean, maybe we'll see. It's a long season. We'll see if he can continue this. But yeah, he's on a hell of a tear right now, man.
I mean, 17 touchdowns to
To
3
3.
interceptions is pretty absurd.
Filthy,
Yeah.
dude. He's up there with like Drew Brees and Tom Brady. Right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
Andrew Luck.
And Matthew Stafford.
Yeah. Nah. Derek Carr's really good. That 513 yards is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish my quarterback did that.
My quarterback should do that every week. But we ain't
You don't
got
have to
no other.
apologize. You have Case Keenum as your quarterback.
I know our backup quarterback is still good enough to win us some games. I'm happy.
You think?
Yeah.
Speaking of backup quarterbacks, who's your game ball this week, please?
My game ball is a backup quarterback.
Oh my lord.
That's hilarious.
Risky biz.
Tom the Bomb Brady.
Wow,
Tom
what's a backup for
Brady.
4 games? I like that.
Everyone starts somewhere.
Wasn't in the league for.
I can't believe they gave that kid Tom a shot.
Yeah, I know, but it's a good thing they did because this week he threw for 315 yards and 4 touchdowns against Buffalo. He was throwing the rock all over the place. There were Waldos flying around the park too. It was crazy. And
I heard about the Waldos.
Yeah, those Waldos, dude.
It said Tom Brady's name on it.
Did it?
Which I found extra funny.
Really?
Yeah, I read an article that said that.
I'm lost right now.
Were they saying that looks like his, or it was for him?
I think it just said like Tom Brady's Waldo on the Waldo. I'm pretty sure.
That's
pretty
actually
awesome.
hilarious.
That's great, eh?
Tom Brady said the ref didn't want to pick it up either, which I thought was hilarious.
Well, people always hate the dudes on the top, so makes sense.
True.
But yeah, Tom in our league had a 37-point game. Like I said, 4 touchdowns, 315 yards. He currently has 12 touchdowns, no picks on the year. The man's a G.
That is absurd.
Probably going to take the MVP from Derek Carr. If I had to predict one at the moment, it's going to be Tom. He's a G. Although the writers are going to sass him because of that whole cheating thing, but he's going to deserve it at the end of the year. He's going to be the most valuable player for sure.
Usually when you cheat, you pay for it.
Yeah, I know, but he did pay for it. He took his 4 games.
Even if you're good enough to win anyway and then you cheat, you still pay for it.
Best, you don't make the rules.
I'm the commissioner. I make all the new rules. I'll break your rules and make new rules.
That's enough about Tom, though.
Yeah, alright. Tom's good. Whatever.
He's alright.
I'm already past
Might be
that.
the GOAT.
He's
But,
definitely the GOAT.
alright, so that's game balls right there. That's some great game balls this week.
They were.
As always.
And before we get into the bye week blues, we got some hot topics this week.
Hot topic.
Week
Hot
8
topic?
and the beginning of week 9 came with some hot topics. And I'm just going to throw a couple out there and we're going to discuss them up a little bit. And let's start with one that's been happening the whole season. Russell Wilson continues to struggle. This is a guy who's like arguably one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league last year. A magician in the pocket. I don't like
Truly.
Russell Wilson. I'm saying all this stuff about him. But this year, I was scrolling on Twitter, and I actually saw something insane. So last year, he had 594 rushing yards, which led all quarterbacks. This year, guys like Matt Ryan and Derek Carr have more rushing yards than Russell Wilson.
He just doesn't look healthy, man.
It's
He's not
terrible,
healthy.
and their offense really hasn't changed that much, so he shouldn't be struggling. He knows the offense. He has the same weapons. If anything, Jimmy Graham's looking way better. That line does suck, and they don't have beast mode.
The line is weak. The run game isn't as strong as it usually is, like you just said. And also, he just can't, he's better when he's outside the pocket, and he struggles with his mobility terribly right now, man. It kind of hurts to watch Russ play like this because typically he's so fun to watch. He's exciting.
You know, it also got me to thinking about a while back. Russell Wilson got married to I forget what her name is.
Sierra.
Sierra. Got me
If
to
you're gonna
think
bring
about
up
another guy
Media
who
news, you gotta
struggled,
know the names.
who struggled when he right after he was bringing his new girlfriend to the stadium, and that was Tony Romo with Jessica Simpson. Could Sierra be the next Jessica Simpson?
Not likely, because she was there last year and he tore it up.
Ain't this year.
Exactly.
That's all I gotta say. I don't care.
Maybe they're having a little tuft at home. They're having a little fight.
And they're two terrible quarterbacks.
I think it could have to do with the fact that he's had 3 injuries in the last 2 weeks. Maybe his MCL sprain is a little more severe than they want to say.
Come on, dude.
And he also has a chest problem now, so he is pretty beaten up.
Plus, he always has future lurking.
Bro, you
behind
don't
his
think
shoulders.
it's superstition, man?
Waiting.
I think he's.
You think it's stats and facts?
I think he needs to heal up, and I don't think he's going to have that opportunity this season. So I don't know what's going to happen for us.
Yeah, I think Russ is going to continue to struggle.
Question mark.
Yeah, exactly. They always say you can't heal up during the season, you know?
Yeah, you can't.
It's impossible. So it's going to stay like that or worse. It's not like he's going to stop using his knees for a couple games and you know,
Exactly.
recover a little bit. He's going to stay where he is, I think. He'll have to make all his throws from the pocket, and there go his rushing yards in terms of like fantasy value. I mean, there goes rushing yards, his rushing touchdowns. He has no rushing touchdowns this year yet. He only has 5 passing touchdowns this year, and
He only has
2
like
or 3 picks.
And he only has like 20 yards rushing.
Yeah,
Something like that, total.
Yeah. So in terms of the Seahawks, he'll be fine. It's just this will probably be a down year for him for sure, and they got to get the O-line working and the running game working. In terms of fantasy, though, I think it's time for him to be on your bench or be traded away or find another option until he can prove he can do something. He's only gone above 15 in fantasy this year one time. And that was a 30-point game he had against...
Wow.
That's just rude.
I forget who. Like week 4, I think.
Yeah, you can't have that.
So, in terms of fantasy, he's done. At least I've been starting him every week up until now, but he is officially cut from my team.
Wow.
I recommend you do the same.
You cut him?
No, I still have him.
Yeah, what?
But he's not starting this week. Actually, he might just out of pure desperation because there's no one really looking that hot on waivers except Josh McCown. But we'll talk about him later.
Yeah. That's always still questionable as well.
And that he doesn't have the run game that he had last year to lean on. So I think he's eventually going to catch on. I believe the teams like Carolina and Seattle and the Cardinals are just eventually just going to get it together and look like the teams they were last year. But another one I want to talk about, I talked about him a little bit earlier, and that was the Mark Ingram benching. That was terrible. This is a guy that I personally thought I could start pretty much any game. Like I said earlier, the last 4 weeks he's had a 20 and 18, a 6, which was a bad game against Carolina, a good defense, and then a solid 14 against KC, another good defense. And then after 3 carries and 1 fumble, Sean Payton brings him to the bench.
It's a Belichick rule.
Should owners be worried about Mark Ingram?
Should you be more worried about Tim Hightower is the question.
Yeah, dude.
That's the reason I would worry about Mark Ingram. 26 carries. Mark Ingram hasn't seen that in years. The most he has this year is 18. And they give Tim Hightower 26.
I think it's noticeable to point out that Tim Hightower had like 3 to 5 goal line opportunity runs, and he didn't convert on any of them. So Ingram kind of has that nose for the end zone, and he's been known for getting touchdowns all season. Yeah, that's true, but still, Seattle without Michael Bennett.
That's true. That's a big piece.
It's a different D-line. But regardless, I think that, you have to look at that.
And Mark Ingram's a complete back. He's a big guy, a bruiser. He wears the defense down. But not only that, he can go and catch the ball, and Drew Brees loves throwing to him. That's why he's so effective, especially in those PPR leagues. Now, to answer my own question, I'm not really worried about Mark Ingram. I think Sean Payton's just trying to prove a point to him that, like I said, he's fumbled twice in 3 weeks. He's got to hold on to that ball or you can't play. If you're putting the ball on the ground, you're losing your team games.
Yeah, I know, but in terms of fantasy, how are you feeling? Because out of
fantasy?
Out of 7 games, he's only gone double are three times. Like, are you still starting
this?
This
is very true. I also should have put that I didn't have Mark Ingram in the first 2 weeks, so I was worried at first, but when I traded for him, I knew he was going to turn it up. As pointed out with the 20, the 18, and the 14. Now, while the Saints' defense is horrible, Mark Ingram does catch balls, so he's still useful in that offense. He's good. They give him the ball a lot if you look at his carries and then his catches.
Yeah.
He has close to 20 every game, so he's going to touch the ball 20 times. That's an effective... He's considered a running back 1. That was a bad week last week. I'm not worried about him.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Since you've had him, I guess he has... looked better. I mean, his numbers are a little better since you've had him, and he's had that buy-in there, but I don't know. We'll see what happens against San Fran and then Denver after that. So.
San Fran's like the best pick-me-up defense to verse, though, if you're a running back.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, they gave up 150 yards to Jaquiz Rogers. When was the last time? I mean, Jaquiz has been good this season, but he was only ever known for going off for like 40, maybe 60 yards if you're lucky. Yeah, so
it looked easy for him that
game. The Niners defense is just terrible without Navarro Bowman in the center, so I can see Mark Ingram having a really nice bounce back week.
I think as long as he doesn't fumble, he'll put up running back 1
I can see
numbers.
both him and Hightower putting off numbers. Because that defense is just terrible.
They're still going to give Hightower 10 carries a game, apparently, but like I said, Mark Ingram, he'd probably still get 15 a game. I'm starting him with confidence. And San Francisco, they are a terrible run-stopping team, especially, like you said, without Navarro Bowman. We're going to another running back. It was announced earlier this week that Jamal Charles placed on IR. He's done.
Not Jamal. J-Ball Charles.
No.
Another one.
Even worse for them, the Chiefs playing Indianapolis last week not only lost Alex Smith to a concussion, they also did lose Spencer Ware to a concussion, and he probably won't play this week. It's looking like hasn't passed concussion protocol.
Unfortunately not. Tomorrow is his last day to pass the protocol. So if he doesn't by then, you might have to look for a new starting running back.
Is he projected points right now?
He's currently projected 0 in fantasy.
Wow, he was projected like a massive amount of points.
I think he was projected originally for 15.
Oh
Do I
my
dare
lord!
start $3 tonight?
$3? No.
No.
Thursday night
would be
games
risky.
Thursday night games. You shouldn't. You should if you have to start on a Thursday night.
I
game,
definitely
it should
wouldn't
be
start
one
any of the
guy,
Buccaneers running
one
backs
automatic
tonight.
guy.
That's going to be a crazy thing to call who's
Yeah.
going to get the hot hand there. It's between Peyton Barber and Antoine Smith, who collectively have 0 career starts
Yeah.
Yeah.
and about 15 carries.
That's a toss-up.
I mean,
man.
when you're the third and the fourth behind a guy like Doug Martin and then Jaquiz Rogers out of nowhere. Oh my
Barber,
God.
although he did just get named the starter, Craig. So if you're going to pick one up, I might recommend him over Antoine Smith.
He's proven to be a serviceable back, but who knows? I think that they're going to have to go to passing, so maybe he kind of fills in as that Charles Sims role, but I don't have enough confidence in that.
2 weeks ago, versus San Francisco, he had 12 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown. So he has proved he can come in and at least bring something to the offense. The other games collectively, he has 4 carries for 7 yards.
But look at that. Came into San Fran
Yeah,
and did that.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know who else did that? Jaquiz Rogers went off for 150 the same game.
The exact same game.
So if you look at that, that's a crazy, he's shown that he can produce, but again, it's against San Fran. And his other running back partner got almost double what he did. So I don't know if it's trusting enough to start a player in that big of a committee.
Yeah, I don't know if I would touch it. They also signed free agent running back Mike James earlier today. He played for the Bucs last year as a third down role before Charles Sims got on the team. It was earlier in the year. It actually might have been 2014. That could be wrong. Could have been all the way back then. But he's familiar with the Bucs offense, and he could be getting some third down reps tonight, I heard.
Very interesting.
But I wouldn't pick up any of them. If you're going to pick up one, probably go with Barber, maybe Antoine Smith if you're extremely desperate.
Yeah.
The only back you really want to play tonight is Devontae Freeman.
Exactly.
He's gonna
Tevin
eat
Coleman
8.
out tonight. I think Devontae Freeman really is going to go off.
Dude, I can't wait to see the 25 on my stat sheet when I wake up in the morning, dude. I think Freeman's going to eat.
Are you going to be
tonight.
disappointed if it's below 25?
Yes.
As a lone back in that Falcons offense, I think he's going to eat a lot of cake tonight.
There's been games where both of them get 25 each. I think tonight with him finally there
Getting
alone.
that full workload.
Oh my gosh, he's probably going to have 2 touchdowns and 150 multi-purpose
I see this
yards.
as a high-scoring game. I think Devonta Freeman's going to be right in the middle of that.
100.
Yeah, I mean, he should definitely produce. If he doesn't, that would be very sad.
Let's see some other hot topics we got here.
Hot topic.
J-ball surgery, we did that. Mark Ingram.
Well,
we did
now,
that.
actually, I want to touch on that real quick because we went in a whole another direction.
What do you want to touch on?
than what I wanted to ask. And what I want to ask is, with Jamal Charles out for the year, and with Spencer Ware probably being out this year,
Don't say
this
that.
week, unless he can
I
pass
have to
this,
start him.
unless he can pass it on his last day. Oh my lord, Charkandrick West. Jesus, couldn't come out. Can he possibly take the lead back position in Kansas City this week? I mean,
This week.
last year when he filled in for Jamal Charles, he was a monster.
Do you mean
At
that? Do you mean that he's taking over this week or for the season?
Oh, for the season.
No.
This is the question I'm posing.
I don't think he's overtaking Spencer.
No.
Spencer Ware's definitely earned that job, in my opinion.
Spencer Ware is still averaging over 5 yards a carry, and he had only like 7 rushes last week.
He's a big, strong, physical back man. He can handle that full workload. Plus, he's a nice receiver.
Yeah, he's great, and he's
he
good
brings a
goal
lot
line.
to the table. I think Spencer Ware has nothing to worry about with that job. But I also think this week, if Spencer Ware doesn't play, Charkandrick West would be an excellent fill-in. He's available in a ton of leagues still.
I would think he's a top 10. Honestly.
I think so as well.
Probably even below that, top 5 possibly. Just because of how much they use their running backs with Andy Reid offense, Charkandrick West is going to be in there as a 3-down back. You saw what Spencer Ware can do as a 3-down back. You've seen what Jamal Charles has done out of that offense as a 3-down back. It looks like that is kind of a great system to be in as a running back. So I can see Charkandrick West putting up a good amount of points this week.
Definitely.
Double digits for
and,
sure.
And with Foles,
Especially
Yeah, exactly. Especially with Foles playing.
in PPR leagues, for sure. I would give him at least
PPR and half
at least a
PPR.
flex.
Absolutely. I would definitely think about that as a fill-in.
Yeah, Spencer Ware's been awesome this year. I think you got to think there always is the chance that, say, this man goes off for 200 yards this week. Has been done twice by the same player this year.
Oh, my God.
I got him on my team. We're not talking about him.
Because no one cares about him.
He could definitely take some carries, but Spencer Ware's so good that I do think that while he might not keep the starting job, you never know what's going to happen. He's definitely always going to have a prominent role in that offense with how he's performed this year.
Definitely. All right, that's enough about the Chiefs.
Yeah, we're gonna go into them bye week blues.
Oh, you don't want to talk about these other hot topics? We have some
What
hot
you want to
topics.
talk about?
Well, you already ranted about DeAndre Hopkins,
Yeah.
but you
And
wrote here,
I already
is
know
he
how
still
y'all
bad?
feel. I already know how y'all feel.
The
about
answer
the next one.
is,
He is not
as long
bad.
as he
He is
has
good.
Brock Osweiler as his quarterback,
Yes, that's the
then the
answer.
answer is
TR.
yes.
That's the answer to that.
Yeah, I had to throw Brock Osweiler in there because it was just funny,
Yeah.
the DeAndre Hopkins thing, but it's all Brock Osweiler's fault.
We should talk about this one too, Bess. This question you wrote.
Right, yeah.
About, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, we'll talk about it. I know how
Just
Craig,
real quick.
I know how Craig's going to feel about it because we
Yeah.
discussed it a little bit last week, but I actually got a question for y'all. Is there a chance that Carson Palmer's back after last week? He played Carolina, and while he did throw 2 picks, he managed to put up 28 points in fantasy.
Yeah.
Carson Palmer was a G last week. 336 yards, 3 touchdowns. My bad, 1 pick and 1 fumble. So he did turn over the ball twice. But 363 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Panthers, who quality defense. Yeah, they don't really have
Very weak
cornerbacks.
secondary, though.
They did get Bannon Winokur, their cornerback, back at last week or the week before. So they do have him. I don't know how good he is. Their cornerbacks are pretty bad. But still, he tore him up, and that's really like the first good game he's actually had besides that Tampa Bay one. The Tampa Bay where he put up 304 and 3 touchdowns.
I think
He looked good. What do you think?
He looked good, and the numbers are there. I think the bye comes at an interesting time because he finally gets that production you want to see in fantasy, and then goes into the bye. So that could possibly, I could see it going both ways. You know, having that week off after finally having some success throwing the ball. You could see losing some of that momentum and maybe not playing so hot coming back. Or maybe that buys exactly what he needed, and he just needs a little bit extra rest, especially after that concussion. And maybe he'll come back even better against San Francisco in Week 10. We'll see. In terms of starting Palmer in fantasy right now, well, obviously not this week with the bye, but Week 10 against San Fran, I think that's a possible start right there, depending on what your other options are. But that'll be a game in Arizona against a division opponent with the Niners. I could see you maybe benching him, but that could be another trick instead of a treat for that week. Definitely.
A trick if you bench him.
This could be a typical trick, dude. He's gone off for 3, 13, 14, 13. Finally get to 28. He might just be tricking us. It's hard to say.
I honestly hope he's back. I have John Brown. I need him to be ready to step into that flex position, and he loves him some John Brown, but he's been so ineffective this year. Definitely a good game for him. Maybe see what he does next after the bye week. If you're desperate, I wouldn't mind starting Carson Palmer after a hot week like that, and then a bye 2 weeks to prepare. So I wouldn't say he's back yet, but he's definitely trending upward. But yeah, because I don't want to talk about how bad DeAndre Hopkins is. I already, like you said, ranted about him for about 5 minutes. We're going to go into those bye week blues.
Oh, yeah.
Last week was tough with bye week blues.
This week's
A
even
lot
worse.
Nah, it's the same amount. It is a
6
lot
weeks,
better teams,
A lot
though.
of big teams, man.
Week 9 brings buys for the Arizona Cardinals, the Chicago Bears, who actually looked really good.
Got some fantasy assets.
Let's see if that's a fluke. Since the Cincinnati Bengals, the Houston Texans, the New England Patriots. Tom Brady finally. Well, this is the fifth game. This is the 5th time Tom Brady's had to sit this year. and the Washington Redskins. So lots of good players. So we're going to kick it off as we usually do. We're going to go quarterbacks. And this week, this guy's got a chance to shine. I'm going to go with, if you need a quarterback, Nicholas Foles.
Terrible decision.
Nicky
Boo.
F. My
Nicky
man.
F.
No.
He's back with
Wrong.
Andy Reid, the man who drafted him. And Alex Smith is not back. He's got a concussion. He's not going to play this week, so they're handing the reins to Foles. Playing Jacksonville. The thing about Nick Foles is he knows Andy Reid's offense. Like I said, this is the guy who Andy Reid drafted. Andy Reid likes him. And he looked good against, yes, it's the Colts, but he had 223 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Alex Smith played most of the beginning of the game and then came back for a little bit. So that's some good production for Foles. And Jacksonville is, while not as bad as Indianapolis, not the greatest defense. I think there's a chance Nick Foles can go off this week. Who's got us another quarterback?
I've got one for us. I'm going to pick up Trevor Siemian this week. He's available in 84% of leagues right now. He hasn't been great lately, pretty consistent around 13 points. But he versus an Oakland Raiders secondary who is not only one of the least disciplined secondaries in the NFL with their penalties, but they give up a ton of yardage as well. So I think this Sunday night, Trevor Siemian at Oakland, he's a chance to really go off passing. I think Oakland, despite playing Denver's defense, they're still gonna put up points. So I think Trevor Siemian's gonna have to too. So I can see him doing really well this week, and he's available in a ton of leagues.
Yeah, they got a pretty bad secondary in Oakland. They're pretty slow, and they're without Sean Smith. At least he was out last week. I don't think he's playing this week either.
I don't believe he is. And yeah,
but
they already ranked one of the worst in the league in pass defense.
Yeah, but they got to hope they can stop Khalil Mack and keep Simeon on the ground. But Simeon's done it before. He's thrown 4 touchdowns this season, so he's definitely a guy you can start in a scratch and cat scratch. And he could get you those numbers, especially with a defense like Oakland. All right, Pace, you got us any quarterbacks?
I had one for you, but now it's all irrelevant.
Why?
Like a murder case.
Just like your name?
Yeah, my guy lined up. Apparently, McCown is not playing this week.
Ooh, I was just going to tell you
I
that.
rescind my earlier point I made. But he looked good last week, so maybe... we're not going to talk about that. Fuck that.
Watch out, Cody Kessler.
Yeah, Cody Kessler might have a game. Dallas actually has given up some big points to quarterbacks.
That was going to be my quarterback.
Kessler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a stud.
That does make sense. I just didn't want to go that route. But I am going to go down the route of the 49ers quarterback, Colin Kaepernick.
Yo, you're going with Cap?
Coming off a bye this week, and he was my Hail Mary 2 weeks ago, which didn't pan out. But I think this could be the week he does something. They're playing the Saints in San Francisco. I don't know. This is just kind of a if you had to type of situation. Like right now, I'm facing this or Russell Wilson. I'm not really sure. But Colin, I don't know. You figure he's going to break out one of these weeks. He's so athletic, or at least used to be. You want to see some flashes of that, but so far we haven't. He's only thrown 2 touchdowns so far, 1 interception, 1 fumble, and no rushing touchdowns. Although he has had a 66-yard game and an 84-yard game on the ground. But if you need someone for the bye week blues, Colin Kaepernick is going to get you at least something. I mean, he's not going to completely do terrible. He got a 19 and a 15 in our league the past 2 weeks. So he's someone kind of right there. He's leading the waiver pickups in our league right now, and someone you should consider.
He hasn't thrown over for 200 yards, that's all I have to say.
I know, but he's a G, so...
You know, if they actually could win a game, all this kneeling would finally be for something, because he could finally... All this practice, if he could just get to the victory formation, he'd look fantastic.
How
Best
It's
dare
not
you.
going to get you any
game
points.
is Colin
How dare
Kaepernick.
you.
That's a good point.
But all that practice could finally be for something, but they haven't won many games.
Nope.
Sorry, Chip.
Chip
All right.
sucks.
No sorry,
All right, Craig,
Chip. Chip gets no apologies from us.
Chip sucks.
He's trash bag.
Craig, wrap up the QBs. Who you got?
I'm going with the new Brown starter, Cody Kessler.
The Rook?
Yeah, the young man.
Putting him in?
Yeah, he's actually been playing very well, completing 67% of his passes.
Wow.
4 touchdowns to 1 interception. Not bad at all. So I think that the Cleveland Browns are constantly throwing the ball. So Cody Kessler has a chance to go off for 300 yards and multiple touchdowns. I think that you can see some production against the Dallas Cowboys, who have a much more potent offense and offensive line and running game. So I think they're going to go up big. So the Browns are going to have to be coming from behind the whole time.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to running backs. For the quarterbacks, these are guys like Carson Palmer out. Jay Cutler, who just came back last week, he looks pretty decent. I'm sure he's not on many teams yet, but he could be a quarterback going on into the playoffs. You never know. Andy Dalton, I'm just babbling. Brock
Babbling
Osweiler,
bass.
who's
Like a
complete
babbling brook
trash.
out here.
Your boy Tom Brady and Kirk Cousins, who's a serviceable quarterback, I guess. All right, like I said, we're going to move on to the running backs. And there is slim pickings in running backs.
It really is.
You guys got anything for me?
I'm going out on a long shot here, man. A real long shot. And this is if Carlos Hyde doesn't play. He's projected to not start as of right now. In practice, he's still wearing non-contact jerseys coming off of his shoulder injury. So if you are especially a Hyde owner, I might look for DeJuan Harris. He is owned in 3% of all leagues. So you can pretty much go out and get him whenever.
Nice.
DeJuan Harris was the primary ball carrier when Hyde got injured 2 weeks ago. He had 11 carries for 39 yards. And I think he would be the guy that would take over in Hyde's spot instead of Mike Davis for the Niners. So I'm going out for a long stretch, man, and in a run-based offense, potentially seeing a lot of volume. Why not play DeJuan Harris if you're extremely desperate?
Mm-hmm.
He's got a great matchup, by the way, against the New Orleans Saints at home.
Oh, yeah,
So,
that's a beautiful
He have a nice
matchup.
chance to at least make an impact immediately before the Saints go up 21-0. Sorry, Chip.
Sorry, Chip.
Sorry, Chip. You suck, though, at coaching. Everything you've ever done in the NFL.
Trash on Chip.
But this is not a Chip Kelly hate show.
All right, guys. Who else
Nope.
we got? Anybody?
Yeah, I got one.
Who is it?
It's the other Atlanta running back that's going to be playing tonight.
Who is that?
Teron Ward.
Oh, yeah, I saw him last week. I had no clue who that was.
Last week, he had 6 carries for 46 yards. So he has potential for big play, and he's got a lot of speed. He's a little man. So if he gets in the open field, he can do a lot of damage. I can see him being a good receiver tonight against the Bucks. They're going to put him and Devontae Freeman out in the slot. So I think that he has pretty high potential for this week at least, until Tevin Coleman comes back, that is. But I think he could be a good fill-in for running backs.
True. Pace, you got anybody for me?
I got someone who, like Slade's pick, is also a long shot, and might not even be for this week in particular, but maybe more of a down-the-road type of person to pick up this week. But that's Tim Hightower, the backup running back for the Saints.
Touched on him a little bit earlier. I like that.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too much into him, but they put him in the game last week after Ingram had that fumble. And after that, Hightower went for 26 carries for 102 yards. That's without a touchdown. And that's also against Seattle's defense, which is pretty impressive. So I think you could see him do some more this week for sure. But I don't know if I'd start him just because they're going to give Ingram another chance. They're not just going to bench this man now because he fumbled, one time.
I know.
But if you're desperate, you can play Hightower. It'll be lucky, basically, if he gets you anything. But I think pick him up because if Ingram does start to lose that job and mess things up, Hightower's going to be the guy they go to because he has already shown that he can really run the ball, especially, like I said, against Seattle. Got 100 yards on him. So, and that's not even being the starting back. He got all that. So he's a guy you want to look for.
I got an interesting one. You guys, we were all together for the Thursday night game. And DeMarco Murray did his thing, but there was another running back who might be worth a look this week, and that's Derrick Henry. Actually, a little higher own percentage at 61, but they gave him 16 carries last week. He turned that into 60 yards and a touchdown. And they said this week they want to get Derrick Henry more into the offense. This is a former Heisman winner and a second-round pick. My bad. I was about to say first. He wasn't picked.
That would have been dumb.
Yeah, that would have been horrible. I wish we picked him in the first round. Indianapolis. That would have been great. We need a running back.
Remember the last Alabama running back they picked in the first round?
We didn't pick him.
Oh, you traded for him, though.
We did trade him.
Trent Richardson.
Worst decision ever.
Oh,
Shout out to Grigson.
Grigson's the greatest GM I've ever seen. And you know what? It's insane that he's paired up with Chuck Pagano. Because they're just great. It's a great coach and a great GM. Wonderful.
Enough about Indy's front office, though.
But yeah, Derrick Henry. I mean, if they're going to give him those types of carries, you've seen it. He is a big back. He breaks tackles. He makes people miss. And they give him goal line carries. It is a little risky with DeMarco Murray in there because DeMarco is the first guy, and he's been performing very, very well.
He did get a little banged up, though, last week.
That he did, and that's why Derrick Henry was getting them carries. But against San Diego, I think Derrick Henry can really put up some numbers. All right, that's running backs right there. We're going to move on to wide receivers.
Smart.
And I'll kick us off again. I got a guy. I've actually used him for bye-week blues, and I'm going to go back to him. And that's Kendall Wright for the Tennessee Titans. Oh, I had this written down.
You don't want to pick Kendall Wright?
Oh, you took a picture of it? Oh, that's terrible. Well, I'll talk about him. Don't worry. I'm way better.
If you miss anything, I'll recap
right,
when you're done.
This man has led the team in targets for 2 of 3 weeks. He was their starting receiver this last year. This year he was a little banged up, but ever since he came back, the man has been a beast. He had a great game against San Diego last week, 84 yards and a touchdown.
You mean Jacksonville?
Oh, yeah. What did I say? Indianapolis? That was 2 weeks ago.
You said San Diego, which is their matchup
Oh,
this
that's
week.
this week.
Which is going to have another good game.
My bad. Yeah, San Diego's week. And
Okay.
the best thing about Kendall Wright is he's only owned in 10% of leagues. And in the last 3 weeks, like I said, he led the team in targets.
Yeah.
And he's put up double-digit fantasy numbers. He is a monster. I'm liking Kendall Wright this week, even at San Diego. San Diego's defense has been looking okay, but I think the Titans are going to be down this week. Kendall Wright's the guy you want to have in that offense.
That's my player, too. I'd say go pick him up this week for sure. 10% owned going against San Diego. Against some of the poor defenses in the past 3 weeks, he's really produced. So I agree with Bass. That was my guy I was going to pick, too.
You sound dumb. Jacksonville's top 10 defense.
Yeah.
Me.
You called him bad.
Me.
I said something else.
Me.
I forget what I said already.
Terrible. It might have been the word. If that's what you're looking for.
All right,
That
who's
would be
giving me a
truly
wide
accurate.
receiver? There's a lot of good receivers. I need one.
I can give you one that's still widely available.
I might
Who
even
is
still give you guys another one
I can give you millions.
if I can find
I don't want you to give me anything, Pace.
Well, I
You
want to
give-
hear what you got,
you
because
give-
I know it's not going to be better than
You give
Kendall Wright.
TRBL advice.
Really
Kendall Wright was
now?
probably the best receiver out there, though. I can't believe only 10% of people own him. He's a pimp.
He's a pimp.
He's a big old
I
pimp.
don't think he's proven to be a pimp at all.
Yeah, I mean, 2 out of 3 great game. 2 great games out of 3 is pretty. Well, I mean, his only bad game was against Indianapolis. I have no clue, except Vontae Davis. But he should have trashed us. But still, this is a guy. If you really and the guys out this week: Larry Fitzgerald, John Brown, Alshon Jeffrey, AJ Green, Nuck. Will Fuller's pretty trash now too. The New England Patriots
Pretty
they
trash?
throw to
Don't you mean
whoever
good?
They want. And Deshaun Jackson and
You just called him trash.
Unfortunately, maybe Jamison Crowder is the 13th ranked receiver this year.
Emergence.
So there's a lot of receivers out here. So I need you guys to give me some receivers. Who we
Stop
got?
nabbing me, ball.
I need it.
All right, I'll give you one.
Thanks.
Are you ready?
This is the whole point.
Dorial Green Beckham.
Yes!
Let me find out.
Isn't that funny? Funny how things change so fast when you get pulled over speeding when you have weed and a gun in the car. It's pretty stupid. Josh Huff, gone out of Philly. So I think it opens up more opportunity for Dorial Green Beckham to be what he was supposed to be. He is what we thought he was. The last 2 weeks, he's put a 7 and a 7.5. Increased his targets the last 3 weeks.
Yes,
so
sir.
I think that he looks like he's poised for a breakout game. And the Giants really only have one good cornerback in Janoris. So
Who's also burnt toast.
R.I.P.
So I think that Doriel's a big target, and he could definitely get red zone opportunities. TDs for days.
I've been waiting. I think Carson's
Well, you
going to
gonna wait
find
till
out
Sunday.
that he loves throwing to this giant man on the field, and eventually Doriel Green-Beckham will become that number one receiver for the Eagles. But we have to wait and see.
Yep, it is a wait-and-see game.
All right, who else has got a receiver for me?
I got a receiver. Corey Coleman of the Cleveland Browns. He's available in almost 60% of leagues still. He had broke his arm and was out for about 5 weeks. His first 2 games, he put up a 6, and his second game, he had a 22 with 2 touchdowns coming in that second game. The kid looked like he was about to go on a tear to start his rookie career and maybe go on to win Rookie of the Year. But then so far his season has been cut short. I think with him coming back this week, especially against Dallas, their number one cornerback, Mo Claiborne, just got hurt against Philly. I think Corey Coleman has a chance to break out once again, even though the rookie Cody Kessler is going to be the signal caller. So, yeah, I mean, if you can go get him, I think for going this week and for the rest of the year, Corey Coleman is going to be a possible flex player.
Yeah, I could see that. If the Browns offense is able to step it up this week and maybe Terrell Pryor's getting, to the double teams and everything, I could see Coleman going for a good game. I don't really have a player. Well, I did kind of write was mine, but I would say some guys will probably have good weeks on this list I see here. I think Kenny Britt will have a touchdown. I think Rashard Matthews will have a touchdown. I think
you're being a little too bold.
I think you're just handing out touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'm just
touchdowns.
saying these guys I think are going to have touchdowns.
Let me go down our list.
I don't think the NFL scores enough touchdowns for fantasy football owners.
There's about an average anywhere from 50 to 70 TDs a week.
I'm going to need
There's plenty
way
to go
more.
around. How many games is that? Like 8 games a week?
I'm thinking we get up to 100.
Like 10 games a week.
10 games
Alright.
a week, you think?
Yeah, so that's like 7 touchdowns per game, 3 per side.
No, we're not
That's
getting
plenty.
7 touchdowns per game, I don't think, dude.
No, I don't think so. Not on average.
Per game?
No way.
Per
on
game?
average.
Total? Between both teams?
Yeah.
Probably like 5, 6.
Yeah.
That's
we're not
like
getting
5 sounds better.
5
7 per
maybe.
game sounds like a lot.
Yeah, that's
I think
a
you're
lot.
pushing 5, bro.
That's a lot.
Well, yeah, as you can see, there's pretty much scraps left. So,
Give
gave
me
you a
scraps.
couple of receivers. We're going to move on to them tight ends. And I'll start off again.
Hold on, let me start off. I got a great one.
Oh, you don't want to be
better
robbed?
not.
I got a great one.
You don't
I
wanna
want to
be
get robbed
robbed?
again.
Oh, no.
I got a
Start us off
great
right,
one.
Pace. Who you
Is it
got?
mine? Let's
Yeah,
hear
it's
it.
probably yours, Bass. I'm so sorry.
Just look at the paper.
Who you got?
Is he on the Titans?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay.
Wow. Wow, say it. Please say it. Hold on. Who is it?
Is it a bird? Is it a plane?
Is it?
No! It's Philip
That's got to be a joke, right?
Supernal. Now, let's hear it.
We're like super. Yeah.
Supernal had the best game of his career last week. 1 catch for 30 yards. This man is a G. Go pick him up right now. He's got the best last name in the league, too. My man, Philip Supernal. I'm going to buy that jersey today.
Supernal.
I like that. He's balling. But speaking of balling, let's talk about hooping.
Okay.
And that's Austin Hooper for the Atlanta Falcons.
Hooper?
Playing at night, so if you got to go out and get him if you're going to play him. He's starting in place for injured Jacob Tammy. This is a tight end that's going to be in a high-octane offense.
Yeah.
Last week versus the Packers, he had 5 catches for 41 yards on 7 targets, so he enjoyed a nice share of the offense. So I think against the even weaker opponent with the Tampa Bay Bucks coming to town tonight, I think Austin Hooper could be a guy that could catch a touchdown for you.
That's a cool pickup. I was looking at that, too. Atlanta tight ends don't get the most love, but they still throw the rock a lot. So if he gets open...
And Matt Ryan spreads the rock, so I think there's a chance he can
Yeah.
he can find pay dirt or maybe even just get enough catches to get you through the week.
100%.
Anyone else got a tight end for me?
I have an actual one I can talk about real quick.
Oh, I got
Nah, you know what? Before you take
You have
mine, let me give you one.
Alright.
Before mine's taken, because you took Supernal,
I have one, though.
I'm going to go with I'm going next. Dennis Pitta versus the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. This is a guy that's owned in 57.5%, so a lot of you can still go get him. He's a 16th ranked tight end, but he has had his bye, so that's affected him a little bit. And he's averaging 7 points a game. This is a guy with how shaky the tight end position has been this week. Or not this week. Well, this week and this season. You could definitely keep Dennis Pitta and start him throughout. He's a very consistent guy. He usually gets between 6 to 8 points a game. And he's a guy Joe Flacco loves to throw to. He's definitely had an okay season compared to the other tight ends. And I would start him in a heartbeat if I didn't have Antonio Gates.
Antonio Gates is suspect himself, so.
Fourth most targeted tight end. He's just not doing anything.
How's the
with it
production
right
looking,
now.
though?
He had a touchdown last week.
Yeah.
He's a very touchdown-dependent guy. If he gets the touchdown, he's going for 10 points, which in tight ends, it's like the fifth best tight end each week.
Yeah.
So, Gates, he's still a little hurt. Once he gets healthy, like I said, fourth most targeted tight end. Phillip Rivers loves him some Antonio Gates.
Yes, sir.
But if you don't got Antonio Gates, go pick up Dennis Pitta.
No doubt. Playing Steelers, who are 23rd ranked defense against the tight end, so that's not a bad pick.
Projected for a 9.
Anyone else have a good tight end they want to mention, or you want to move this train along now?
I got one.
All right, let's do
Why
it.
would we move it along until I give my word?
Yeah, we're about to wrap it up.
Listen. Clive Walford. That's the man.
Clive who?
From Oakland.
Dude, stop.
Yeah,
Walford.
Dude, stop.
You got to understand that.
I understand.
Hunter
plenty.
Henry.
Derek
went off
Carr
on him.
threw 500 yards last week. How many did Clive Walford have?
Clive Walford had 31 yards himself.
Pitiful.
The backup tight end stole a TD for him, though.
Who cares?
So he should have had
It's Dennis.
He should have had 11.
Oh, come
It ain't
on, Derek.
Dennis.
Oh,
Pitta. He's on the team.
I said it's Dennis Pitiful.
Dennis Pitta.
Sound like Zoolander when you said that. But
what I said.
we're definitely going with Clive Walford here. Yeah. He's gonna do it to Denver's D. He's
Really?
big and athletic, just like Hunter Henry. He's fast. So I think that he's going to find some openings in that defense because that's really the only position that can do anything against the Broncos. I mean, you can run a little bit, but that's it.
I was about to say, the tight end's the only person ever running wide open because of Chris Harris and Aqib Talib. And surprisingly, actually, because the tight end should be covered by T.J. Ward. But apparently Denver doesn't care about tight ends.
They don't.
But, I mean, definitely a risky pick, but could pay off. Derek
man,
Carr
there's
is
not
on
much out
fire
there,
right
so
now. There's
I'm
nothing.
giving you your best options, unless you want to deal with some no-name punk on another squad.
Do yourself a favor and pick up Lance Kendricks over Clive Walford. Don't do it to yourself, kids.
Don't do it to yourself and pick up a player from an anemic offense.
We're going to move it right along now.
Yeah, how about you dare to
Sounds smart.
and you give me a defense. There's a lot of defenses out this week.
Scary.
Arizona's
All right, let's
out for me
do-
this week. I need a defense.
Yeah, let's do defenses kind of quickly because we got some other things to
Alright.
get to.
Yeah, lots of other things.
We've been on bye week blues for a minute now.
Okay, real quick. Lions
scary.
defense
Yeah,
against
somehow.
Minnesota. If anybody watched the Monday night game, Sam Bradford looks horrible.
That's the offensive line's fault.
It's also Sam Bradford's fault. And I'm talking about Sam Bradford now, not the offensive line. The Lions, while they're the 22nd ranked defense, they did play pretty well. Got you 7 last week, which is servable out of a defense. If you need one, why not try out the Lions?
This week I dropped the Titans, went out and picked up the Cowboys defense against the Browns this week. The Cowboys are the 15th ranked defense, owned in about 59%, so you might not be able to get them, but if you can, I say you do against Cleveland this week. Cowboys D has put up fantasy points against decent offenses, Philadelphia, Green Bay, Cincinnati, in their last 3 games, so against a lower power team, I could see them still doing well, although beware of garbage time, because that's what's killed me last week with the Titans. If the Cowboys take a nice lead in this game and just have to have the defense on the field for majority of the second half of that game, you could start to see the defensive fantasy points dwindling away, just like it happened to the Titans last week against Jacksonville. But if they can keep it kind of close, I think they'll shut down the Browns. So I am starting the Cowboys this week.
The Cowboys.
What you guys got?
You might be looking for a dark horse defense coming from me. I don't got that this week.
Okay.
But what I do got is some dark cats. And that's the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes!
Jags. Listen to this.
Music to
dude.
my ears.
Backup quarterback in.
Okay.
Backup running back in. Arguably third string.
Wait, who are they playing?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
You got Nick Foles and Charkandrick West, new starters to the offense coming in. I think Jacksonville's defense wreaks havoc this week. Now, like I said, they are more of a dark candidate. They have -9 fantasy points the last 2 weeks, which really isn't what you're looking for coming into a fantasy start. But I think this is a week that all turns around, starting with a weak offensive matchup in the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's go, Cats.
Good pick. I could see worse picks than that for sure.
While I love Cats, I do not like the Jaguars this week.
I don't care what you like.
Like I said,
Bass.
I think Nicholas F's going to have a decent week this week.
Yeah, but that
Nicholas
was.
F for Richmond? Come on.
Nicholas
We know that was a problem pick on
Nicky
your part.
Foles, bro. He knows the offense. It's not going to be like you're instead of facing a backup quarterback, you're facing like a lower tier starter.
All right, Craig, you
Nicholas
got one?
F has thrown
Yeah.
7 touchdowns in a game before.
All right, that's enough.
all I'm saying.
That's enough.
Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick threw 6. All
Had to
right,
be a
moving
Debbie Downer.
along.
Come on.
The Pittsburgh Steelers is my pick this week for defenses.
Against Baltimore?
Solely because they go against Baltimore. Rivalry games are always tight with these two teams, and it usually comes down to one of the defenses making a play. So I can see a couple interceptions, maybe even one for 6, get some sacks in there. It would be serviceable this week as a fill-in. It's always good to pick a rival game. So I think that you're going to see the Steelers be one of the top 15 defenses this week.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. Bye week blues.
You guys done crying now? Is that enough of the fantasy bye week blues?
Yeah, your
I don't
tears
know.
wiped away.
That should be
These
enough to fix, yeah.
These eyes, they might still be crying.
All right, I say we move on. Do you guys want to
Yeah.
get in the Hail Mary picks right now?
Yeah, then we get right into game picks after that.
Yeah, maybe even talk about one more topic that
Hail
we should
Mary.
probably
As
get
long
into.
as long as it's hot.
We'll kick it off with Hail Mary, and then we'll see. We'll check it out.
Let's do Hail Mary.
Hail Marys. This is actually my favorite subject, so I'm going to go first.
Bass, you've actually been pretty good on spot with them all these past weeks.
Yeah.
too.
And maybe it's because
once or twice.
maybe it's because I'm about to steal one, and that's why I'm so good at them.
What you stealing?
My Hail Mary pick's already been picked a couple.
Don't
times.
say Roberto Aguayo.
He's been picked a couple
Oh
times.
God, Roberto Aguayo.
Wait a
I
minute,
can't believe you're ready. No. I'm going with Kenny Stills
Boo.
against the New York Jets this week. The
Boo.
thing about Kenny Stills is,
He's a bomb.
like I said, he's been picked a couple times already. He might actually be the Hail Mary of the year by the time it's all said and done.
He's a Hail Mary every week.
But
Yeah, what the hell do you
best-
mean?
The best part about him and why he's picked so much is he is a top-off receiver. And this week,
A top-off?
he's going against a
Did he
team
take his helmet off when he
that
scores?
already has their top off.
I think you lost your
The
top,
Jets
dude.
can't cover for nothing.
For nothing. Good English. Your top is
Stills
definitely
has
off.
a potential to go off this week, no matter what these clowns are saying. And this is a guy who's owned in like 10% of leagues. Had a big game last week. They're hating.
What do you
on
have
him
last week? What do you have last
just because he's picked. This is the Hail Mary.
Yeah, what do you have last week?
week? What do you have last week?
Like a 2? 3?
He had a touchdown last week.
I guarantee you this week he has one catch for 68 yards and a touchdown.
No, I'm going 3 catches, 34 yards, no touchdown.
Ooh.
I'm going catchless for
Interesting.
Kenny Stills this week.
He has gone catchless in
I
at
guess
least one game this year.
we'll have to check that next week.
Way to be, Bass. Way to be.
Way to be.
All right. Who's got another Hail Mary?
I hate that Bass picked one that was already done, though.
I
Oh,
picked
my
that
Lord.
earlier,
He
Bass.
picked
And
one.
I was correct, too. He went off the week after I picked it, so how dare you steal my strategy?
Oh, look how smart people are. Now he's owned in 17% of leagues.
Because I've been saying his name since week 1.
Yeah, but apparently they're just listening to me.
All right, let's move
Because
along.
It went up quickly.
Moving along.
You guys got one? Who wants to go next?
I think Craig said he had one for us.
Craig?
I did.
100 yards in the
I
touchdown.
did, too.
You're all bums.
You did it to him?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the fastest man in the league, though.
Who?
Marquise Goodwin on the Buffalo Bills.
So much better than Kenny Stills. So much better. Let me tell you how much better.
It's not about skill.
Actually, Craig, you tell me.
It's about repeating players. It takes no skill to repeat somebody who's always owned in under 20% of leagues.
Well,
Anyways.
I gave up 3.
Moving along.
So I'm all out of Hail Marys.
Well, whose fault is that then? Shouldn't be spoiling yourself.
I love our fans and love to give them great
You
picks.
clearly don't love him because you only got 1 out of the 3. Check that. Marquise Goodwin. Shut up, Bass. Anyways, he's owned in 1.8% of leagues. He's basically hit or miss 100%. He has 2 games of 17, one with 17, one with 18. He either goes off or he doesn't because he busts open a big play, but I can see him busting one open against Seattle's D. They haven't been as good as they've been at the start of the season. The past 4 weeks, they've been giving up a lot of passing yards. Even Drew Brees was serviceable last week against them. I think that you see that again. Tyrod is a mobile quarterback. Like I said, they don't have Michael Bennett. Defense is completely different. He can get loose, and once he gets loose, that's really when Marquise has his big plays, is on broken plays. He just says screw it and starts running deep, and he's faster than everybody else, and Tyrod just throws it up. So I think that you can see some production out of him this week. I would go with him on the fly if you're feeling
The only reason Marquise
reckless.
Goodwin wasn't picked before is because nobody should ever pick Marquise Goodwin. Chit-chat.
horrible comeback.
All right, come on.
All right.
Back into this.
Slade, you want to go? Or
I think
me?
you got one, Slade.
I'll go real quick.
All right.
I go first.
I got a running back Hail Mary for y'all this week.
Wow,
this
that's
is definitely a reach. I want to give the people an RB to go after. You know what I mean? A running back is so thin right now. And it's especially thin for the Green Bay Packers. They were actually released Nile Davis, who they just traded for last week, which I thought was interesting. And that opens up a gigantic role for Don Jackson, running back for the Green Bay Packers. Last week, he had 4 carries for 10 yards. But with Ty Montgomery not out this week per se yet, but he's questionable with his he was just diagnosed with sickle cell, I believe. So he's still dealing with the repercussions of that. Thank you, Bass. And yeah, I think Don Jackson this week is going to see the bulk of the carries and could rip off quite a few big games, man. The Packers seem to have turned their offense around, and they got the Colts this week, who can't stop anyone. So I think this could be a nice game for Don Jackson.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible that we're so trash on defense. That
was a huge Hail Mary
like
for
that.
me, though. Don Jackson's available in 98% of leagues, so
I
you can
mean,
go out there and literally get him wherever.
He's the only running back they have because Starks might not play this week.
Yeah,
and
Starks is practicing again, though, but for this week, he's the only true running back.
He's not playing.
Yeah, and they cut Niles Davis, and then the Jets cut Niles Davis too. So I mean,
It's absurd. So yeah, if you need a running back in a pinch situation, maybe go Don Jackson.
Yeah.
Hey, so
Good payoff.
who you throwing a Hail Mary to?
This week, Nick Foles is throwing a Hail Mary to Tyreek Hill. He
Tyreek
is
who?
Tyreek Hill with an H. He is the rookie wide receiver in Kansas City. He's a 5'10" guy, 185 pounds. Ran a 4.2 4.40, and he's a 5th-round draft pick this year. Last week in Week 8, he caught 5 passes out of 6 targets for 98 yards and a touchdown, which, like I said, was that 34-yard touchdown from Nick Foles. So they already kind of made that connection last week. So far, this man has 4 touchdowns on the year. He also returns kicks and punts, and he has 6 rushes on the year as well for 24 yards total. So he's a very versatile, speedy, small guy. I think he will catch some balls this week. Like I said, he went for 5 catches last week. You could see a slight uptick in that this week. He's averaging 11 yards per catch for the season so far. And that's my Hail Mary. We'll check in next week and see if I was right.
How did your Hail Mary do last week?
Clearly, you weren't listening. He went for 5 catches, 98 yards, and a touchdoam.
He means the guy you picked, not Tyreek Hill.
Oh my! Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's rude as hell.
I take
By the way.
that. I take that back.
I am always listening, so...
You're a G. I'm sorry. My Hail Mary last week was Colin Kaepernick, and he sucked.
Yeah, typical. Cap.
Whatever.
That's Kaepernick.
Big Colin Kaepernick.
Last week.
I respect your authority to call a QB Hail Mary, though, dude.
Yeah.
That's risky.
Thank you.
It's tough to do. I can appreciate that.
It is tough
Especially
to do.
risky, yeah. Especially
Yeah.
with a guy who only had his 2nd game back.
Yeah.
And he's better known for kneeling than playing, so. But whatever. These are Hail Marys.
Mistakes were made.
But yeah, alright. Let's try this one out. We
No,
got
let's
one.
not.
You want to try this out?
No.
You want to check
I
it
just,
out?
I just want you to tell me what's the deal.
All right, we're gonna check this new segment out. I was like, I gotta bring it in, so we got a quick one for you. This one's gonna be called Fantasy Focus, and I'm focusing on them rookies this year. We're gonna check out the rookies, tell you how they've been doing, and there's a couple guys, 4 very notable guys who have actually performed very well, and you could start them week in and week out. And I'm going to start out with the young man, Zeke Elliott. The best back in the league right now.
Currently.
You would think he was been playing for 5 years at least. He is a monster.
He's a do-it-all back. I love it.
Yeah, the number 1 running back right now. Like I said, he's a rookie. It shouldn't be this easy for the man.
He's got the best O-line in the league, though.
Behind that O-line, he's putting up numbers on numbers on numbers.
He really is.
I had the chance to try and trade for him when I went for Mark Ingram. I really didn't think he'd be anything, but
What other rookies are we talking?
I was real wrong. Oh, hold on. Let's go to the next rookie. Let's talk about Michael Thomas. This is a guy who has been a murderer. He's got Drew Brees. How you guys feel about him? Since apparently I'm too slow with these.
You are, for real.
Apparently I'm
Start
too
spewing
slow
some
with
names
these.
out, man.
Forever, dog. You should have named them all first.
Yeah, name them all. Let's
You wanna
talk
hear all
about
of them?
it.
We're
Yeah.
gonna talk about
Who are your favorite rookies this year? Let's hear them.
All right, Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz. That's
There's got to
it.
be more than that.
We're
That's
not going to
terrible.
talk about him anymore.
There's no
down.
other rookies you want to mention?
I hate you.
So, Fantasy
What about Hunter
Focus-
Henry?
No, I don't want to talk about him anymore. Fantasy Focus will never come back on the podcast.
I like
Don't you
Fantasy
worry.
And Vass is officially butthurt.
Players.
We're trying to focus on him.
This
So,
is what happens now.
we're just going to wrap it up.
Bass is pouting, ladies
We're
and
just
gentlemen.
going to wrap it up.
This is the
We're going
pouting
with your
ball.
game picks.
Pouting ball. Game
Are there any
picks.
other-
Craig, I saw.
Time for game picks.
I saw that you tallied us up last
No,
week.
yes,
for
sir,
our
I
game
did.
Picks, and how did we do last week?
We
Who
didn't
took
do
it?
we didn't do
Who took it?
terrible. I'm not gonna lie, we didn't do terrible, but
One of us was that.
Slade was 50-50, a little 500.
I hate
We're gonna
when
say
Slade
6-6 for Slade. Then me and Pace tied with 5-7, and you went 4-8.
None of us were that accurate.
Yeah, but that's to be expected.
Just so you know, guys, the Monday night game was not on that list I wrote up, so we might all have different records than we have here.
That's true, but who would you have picked for that game?
I think we all picked Minnesota. Didn't
Vikings.
Oh, yes,
Across
we
the
all
board,
probably
so
have
we all would
another
have had an extra
Oh,
loss.
so we all lost.
So Bass, you're 4-9 then.
So
we'll do better this week.
We won't let you
we? 6 foot, 7 foot.
Yeah, we'll definitely
Oh,
do
no.
better this week. But let's rack it up, though.
But yeah, my
So-
favorite,
Get as
my
many
favorite
as
rookie
possible.
is Jared Goff. for
I was
sure.
last. That's
That
pretty
kid's never
terrible.
played, so how can he be your favorite rookie?
I just like him.
Doesn't make sense.
I just like him.
Doesn't know where the sun rises
He's
and
my
sets.
favorite.
Too bad we're not
Uh,
doing fantasy focus on.
No,
rookies.
we will definitely be
Oh,
focusing on the rookies next week. Certainly.
next week.
We
We'll
kind of
see.
ran out of time this week.
Check that. We didn't run out of time, but we're gonna move on anyway. We're going to the game picks. So tonight's game, we're gonna start it off real quick. Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Who you guys got? I'm going Atlanta.
I'm also going Atlanta. I think they're going to roll.
Yeah. Base.
Sorry. Falcons, definitely.
Craig.
Divisional game, difficult. Ooh.
And it's the Thursday night game. Horrible.
Thursday night. However, the Bucks did just play a really long game with the Raiders. They are at home though. Matty Ice is never as good on the road. Falcons.
All right, so that's a sweep for the Falcons right there. Next game we got Minnesota at home versus Detroit. I think Sam Bradford's going to struggle. I still go with the Vikings because of that defense.
Go ahead.
Anybody.
Minnesota, Green Bay.
Minnesota, Detroit.
Minnesota, Detroit. Detroit. I think Vikings are going to start slipping.
Slipping in.
I think so, yeah.
I like Lions.
I think Lions will just be able to outscore them.
Slade.
I'm also going to enjoy another Vikings loss. I'm going to go Lions as well.
Enjoy, he says.
Well, it helps the Eagles' first round pick, so I'll enjoy every single one.
All right, next game is Baltimore at home versus Pittsburgh. Ben Roethlisberger might play in this game. I'm not sure right now. I'm going to go with Baltimore.
Either way, I think the Steelers win.
I'm also going Steelers. I think big day for Le'Veon Bell.
Definitely Steelers.
Haha. Sorry, Cough Dog. Next game, we got Miami at home versus the Jets. They look terrible against the Browns, but I'll go the Jets. Miami's still pretty terrible.
The Jets are pretty bad, dude. Dolphins are going to win this one.
You know who's not bad is Matt Forte.
True, he's not bad.
Craig, who you got?
Dolphins.
And Slade?
I'm going to split with you, man. I'm going to go Jets this one.
There's a smart boy.
Dome.
All right, this one's going to be really hard.
As a Matt Forte owner, I also have a lot of faith in the Jets offense.
Smart boy. Here's a tough one, like I said. Browns at home versus Dallas. Dallas.
Cowgirls. I'm also going to agree with you.
Yeah, that's Cowboys. Easy win.
Boys.
Wait, everybody agrees with me? A miracle.
So that's our first sweep of tonight.
Nah, Falcons swept
Falcons
too.
were a
Our
swept.
second sweep of tonight, is what I said.
All right,
that is
Did you
what you
guys
said.
hear me correctly?
KC goes, is at home.
Jacksonville.
playing Jacksonville. Craig goes Jacksonville. I'm going to go KC.
I'll go Jags just because
Wow,
Alex
ballsy.
Smith isn't playing, so the Jags might actually get a win.
Wow, that's nice.
I wish I could predict who starts a running back for the Chiefs, but I'm going to go Jags as well.
Wow, this is a great
All I'm
day.
saying, it's at Arrowhead. New York Giants host Philly.
Oh boy. Where's the game?
Unfortunately, it's at the Giants are at home.
game for the Giants coming
I'm
off the
gonna
bye.
go the Giants. I hate to say it, but
That's going to be a great game.
it should be. But Philly.
I think Philly's D is
dropped
going to
that one to
harass
Dallas.
Eli Manning.
He has been getting rid of the ball real quick this season. He hasn't really taken a lot of hits. He's kind of just rushing it out, so might not give his guys time to get down the field and stuff
Yeah, he's
like
been throwing
that.
it at people's feet.
Yeah. I don't know.
I already picked the Eagles. Just if
I
anyone
picked
was
the
curious.
Giants.
I picked the Eagles last week and they let me down, so Giants this week. I think Odell hopefully has a hell of a game because I need it in fantasy.
I want to pretend like I don't want to pick my favorite team, but I'm gonna pick them anyway.
Third favorite team.
Who's that?
First favorite team.
No,
He
first
doesn't
is
like
Cowboys,
the Rams.
and then
Oh, you're right. I forgot. It's second favorite team. my
Yes.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
talking about me?
I'm gonna go. Hold on,
So
folks.
tough. The smoke is pouring out of his
Already heard
ears
that
as he
from
fights
Giants.
himself.
This is terrible. My heart wants to say yes, but my mind is telling me no.
You gotta pick your
My
team.
body is telling me no.
I'm gonna go Giants in a close one.
Oh man!
Wow.
All right, we got the Rams at home versus Carolina. Carolina again. Carolina's gonna beat them. How you feel about that, Pace?
I don't feel.
how's the
anything
Rams
about your
defense
pick.
doing? Are they healthier?
No, we give up like 20-something points a game.
How's
Yeah,
the
I'm
run
gonna
defense?
go Panthers.
Run defense is not good.
I
They're
think
like,
it's gonna be Panthers.
I just heard their number the other day.
If the
I
run
forget.
defense isn't good, I'm also going Panthers.
They're like mid to lower, but I'm picking Rams. Obviously, they're gonna win. They're at home.
We will see.
Our defense is ferocious at home.
San Francisco
No,
at
it's
home
not.
versus the Saints. Saints win back-to-back games.
I'm also going New Orleans in that game.
Listen, and you'll know what it is. San Francisco at home versus New Orleans.
Don't
Sorry,
be
you had
sass,
to hear
man.
it twice.
Talk better, Bass. Just kidding. Saints, clearly.
Saints.
Saints.
New Orleans, sorry.
Alright,
I already
cool.
said that.
Apparently nobody. I couldn't even listen either. This is terrible.
No one's listening.
let's all listen to this next one. San Diego at home versus Tennessee. Tennessee had a good game against the Jaguars, but San Diego is not the Jaguars. I'm going with San Diego. That'll be a close one, though.
I'm going to San Diego solely because the Titans have to make the trip.
Oh yeah, I think I'm also going San Diego in a close one as well.
Me too.
All right. Green Bay at home versus Indianapolis. I really, as you could tell last week, don't care if my record is terrible. I'm going Indianapolis again.
Oh man.
Just kidding. I'm going with the Packers.
Where's the game?
It's in Lambeau. I'm going Packers. I wish I could say Indy right there.
I'll go Indy just because I want to get some
Wow.
bold picks in there.
Hopefully, if I pick against them, they'll win. Slade, who you thinking?
Yeah, I bet that is what you're
I'm going
thinking.
with the Packers.
Heck is.
No, I just know the Packers
I'm going with
are gonna
Indy.
win. So you're going Indy now?
I've been going in.
Oh, if Craig's picking Indy, don't worry, folks. Indy's actually going to win. Oakland versus Denver. Oakland's at home.
This is for the division, too.
This is the toughest one in my opinion. give it to the Broncos. That defense is too good. They've held opposing quarterbacks to under 200 yards in the touchdown every single game. Derek Carr's good.
I'm
this
going
year,
Denver because Oakland's defense is booty. So once the offense gets shut down, what they going to do? Lose. That's what.
Yeah, I'm also going to
if I remember correctly.
I think it's going to be a close one. Oakland's going to play well, but I just think Denver's going to come out with a W.
It's in Denver too, right?
It is.
Oh, yeah.
No, you know what? Actually, the game's in Oakland.
Really?
Yes.
I think Oakland's going to win. I think this is for the division. I think at home, Oakland defense is going to be ferocious. They're going to want to win this
Haven't
bad.
been all year, but
Very
already.
intriguing.
I know their defense isn't good at all, but if the coach gets them riled up, gets them convinced that they could take the division and keep it the rest of the season, this could be the game where they do that. So.
Jack Del Rio's a bish, but
I'll
go
go with
ahead.
him.
Such a rebel. Such a rebel. And our last game, Monday night, we got Seattle at home versus Buffalo. Buffalo just got whooped pretty bad. I think they don't fare any better against Seattle. I'm taking Seattle at home.
Yeah, I'm going Seattle. I think it's going to be a fist fight, but Seattle comes out on top.
I'll go Buffalo. Just because I hate the Saints. I mean the Hawks.
All right, and while you probably shouldn't take any of those to the bank, there are our picks. So that's going to wrap it up for this week, guys. Real excited about Week 9. Pace, how about you give do your thing, give them the Twitter, give them where they can listen to the podcast, where they can watch the live videos. I got to know.
Follow us on Twitter. That is at Fourth End Goal Cast.
Twitter.
The Twitter is the place to go. We got polls up there. We just did one earlier today. We got advice. We got answering questions. We got predictions. We got all that great stuff on Twitter. That's the best place on social media to follow us. In terms of listening to the podcast, you can either hear us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Stitcher. Those are our three main ones right now. Either one of those work nicely. And of course, every Thursday at 7 p.m. we are live streaming on YouTube. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. That is Fourth and Goal. Search Fourth and Goal Podcast and we'll come up right away. Just subscribe to the channel there. You can tune in live and ask us questions and participate. So definitely do that.
I love participation.
And I promise next week we'll make sure to mention the social media in the beginning of the episode because I know you guys are curious. What's the breaking news?
Jameis Winston's a G!
We are live. Cameron Brate, 18-yard touchdown from Jameis Winston. The Bucs are up 6-0, about to be 7 or 8.
And with that, we bid you adieu. Go Indy.
Go Philly! Even though I didn't pick them, it was ass.
Let's go, Rams. Welcome to Duval.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Suck.
Super!
Put the game on. Put the game